Welcome to today's technical video. My name is Colton Haney. I'm a Team Augmentation Specialist here at ATG USA. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to use ReCap to prepare a point cloud for use in modeling within the Revit workspace. So the first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to go into your ReCap workspace and you'll want to open your point cloud. If you did not register and index your point cloud through ReCap, you can import it. Typically, I would suggest using an E57 file type. ReCap can import a variety of different files, including .zfprj, .xyz, .rsp, and many others. Some of these files do not include the photos, which is a big benefit of having the laser scanning and using it within the ReCap workspace. So I would suggest using an E57 file type. It will include the photos. This process may take a while, so throughout this video there may be some portions that we've sped up just for the sake of the video, but this is a time-consuming process. So after you've imported your file, or I'm just going to open mine that we registered and indexed through ReCap, you'll want to organize your scan data. Each scan location and all the points, they're all separated and they're not, it's just one big file. So what you'll want to do is organize it, would be the first step. You can organize it in different groups, such as by floors, or maybe you could do it by discipline. Say you've got some electrical and mechanical, you can group them those ways. So after you've got your points grouped, and one thing I would like to point out is that if you are doing the scanning, or if you have some say before the scanning's done, ask the person who's doing it to organize and name the scans if they can, in a way that makes it a little bit easier for you. Thankfully, the guy that did the scanning for me, he did it by floors, and then he also separated the exterior and the roof and the stairs, so that whenever I brought it into ReCap, it would be easy for me to identify what scans go into what group and organize it from there. Then once you've got your scans into groups, I've got mine here in folders, and actually let me show you how to make those folders real quick. So what you want to do is grab one of your scans and drag it down until it hovers over another scan. You'll see this little folder icon open up. Once that happens, you can name your folder. Then if you want to add more scans to it, you'll drag it, and once this little blue line shows up, and you can place it wherever you want within the folder. If you hover it over the folder, it'll also drop in there, but it'll automatically drop to the bottom. So you can organize all your scans that way. You can get all your groups together. Then once you have all your different groups, you can come in here and say, like, I need to make a region for the first floor. So what I'll do is I'll come in here and turn off all the other regions. And as you can see here, I've only got the first floor scans showing up now. Then I can click and drag to select all of these scans. And then you'll see this little button down here at the bottom show up that says region. You hover over it and select new region. I'll give it the name of first floor, since it's all the first floor scans. And so now I've got a new region under my scan regions drop down that's called the first floor. And I can turn this on and off as a singular region. And then you'll just come through here and do the rest of it. So once you've got all of your regions created, the next step will be to clean up your scan data if you want to, or if it's necessary. Say an example is maybe for the project that I'm working on, we're only working on the building. We don't need any of the site data. So I could come in and remove, say, the parking lot and get rid of those points. Sometimes with scans, you get stuff like that kind of ghosting from mirrors and windows where the scanner thinks there's something there, but there really wasn't. It was just points reflecting off of something, causing some issues, or maybe there were some errors in some scans. You can remove that data, and that'll help lighten the file size of your scans before you bring it into Revit, and it'll ultimately help the performance and help the process, make it easier for you and lighter on your machine, so that it's a little less frustrating for you. The benefit of doing these regions is so that once you export it and can bring it into Revit, while you're modeling, you can turn off from within the Revit workspace. Say right now, you know your machine might not be able to handle the full scan, or it's kind of bogging it down, and you're only working in, say, the first floor. You can turn off the rest of it, and only the first floor part of the point cloud will be being loaded in your Revit workspace, so that everything's just so much faster, and it makes it easier for you to model. Or say maybe you broke it up into disciplines, so now you're trying to see where the electrical is and where the plumbing is, so that you can model your new HVAC equipment, or model your new ductwork. You can turn those areas on specifically and do some, you can do some coordination there and make sure that you're not having any clashes. Or say you only need to model the ductwork on this sheet, this view, you can do that as well. The next and final step is to just simply export it into a file type that works best with Revit. You're going to want to hover over this house icon, come over to where your import button is, and click on export. Then you're going to want to figure out where you want to save it. I'm just going to save mine to the desktop. And you're going to want to export it as a unified RCP. You can also, and there are some situations where you may want to export it as a unified RCS, or maybe you're not using Revit, maybe you're using different software to model, but you're using ReCap to prepare the model. You can also export it as an E57, but for Revit, the best option I can suggest is the RCP. This simply just combines all of your scan files in your ReCap project into a single .rcs scan file. The unified RCP does not get rid of points, while the unified RCS does. So say you modified this a little bit, maybe you got rid of some ghosting, or maybe you got rid of the site, and when you go to export it, it's still going to maintain that data in the unified RCP. The unified RCS is going to delete forever those points that you removed. And there are some situations, say maybe it's a really big model, you may want to use a unified RCS. It'll cut down on your file size. But for 9 out of 10 cases, the unified RCP file is going to be what you want to go with. So you just give it a name and hit save. And then it'll ask you, it will tell you unifying scan data. This is essentially what I just covered. A single unified scan file will be created, which combines all scan files from this project into a single RCS scan file. And you just tell it, let's go, unify my project.